The rain that changed everything. The rain had been falling for 3 days straight. Heavy, relentless drops that turned the quiet suburban streets into rivers and made driving treacherous. Marcus Thompson sat at his kitchen table, watching the water stream down the window while his 8-year-old daughter Emma worked on her homework beside him. "Dad, when will the rain stop?" Emma asked, her pencil hovering over a math problem. Marcus glanced at the dark clouds outside. "Soon, sweetheart. It has to stop soon." But he wasn't sure about that. Nothing had felt certain since Sarah died 2 years ago. The rain seemed to match his mood, lately heavy, persistent, and impossible to escape. He'd been struggling to keep everything together as a single father, working his construction job during the day and trying to be both mother and father to Emma. In the evenings, the insurance money from Sarah's accident had helped for a while, but it was running thin. The bills kept coming, and Emma was growing so fast she needed new clothes every few months. Marcus had been thinking about picking up weekend work, even though it meant less time with his daughter. "I'm done with my homework," Emma announced, closing her workbook. "Good job, Em. Why don't you go play in your room for a bit? I need to make some phone calls." As Emma skipped away, Marcus pulled out his phone to call his boss about extra shifts. The rain drummed harder against the windows, and somewhere in the distance, he heard the wail of sirens. Another accident, probably. The roads were getting worse by the hour. 20 minutes later, Marcus was putting on his rain jacket when he heard a tremendous crash from the direction of Maple Street. The sound was different from thunder, sharper, more violent. His construction worker instincts kicked in immediately. Someone might need help. "Emma, stay inside," he called out, grabbing his flashlight. "I'll be right back." The rain soaked through his jacket before he'd taken 10 steps. He jogged toward the sound, his boots splashing through puddles that reached his ankles. The street was empty except for the occasional flicker of lightning illuminating the storm at the intersection of Maple and Pine. Marcus found the wreckage. A silver sedan had skidded off the road and slammed into an old oak tree. The front end was completely crushed, steam rising from the crumpled hood. The driver's side door was pinned against the tree trunk. Marcus ran to the passenger side, his heart pounding. Through the spider-webbed window, he could see a woman slumped over the steering wheel. "She wasn't moving, ma'am. Can you hear me?" he shouted, trying the door handle. It was stuck tight. The woman stirred slightly, lifting her head. Even through the rain and broken glass, something about her profile looked familiar, but Marcus didn't have time to think about that. He could smell gasoline, and the engine was making dangerous clicking sounds. Using his flashlight, he smashed the passenger window. Glass scattered everywhere as he reached inside to unlock the door. The woman was conscious but dazed, blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. "Don't move too much," Marcus said, climbing partway into the car. "I'm going to get you out of here." The woman's eyes focused on him and she gasped. Marcus, he froze. The voice was familiar, but he couldn't place it. "Do I know you? It's me, Rebecca Wilson." The name hit him like a physical blow. Rebecca Wilson, Sarah's younger sister, the sister who had disappeared from their lives 5 years. "I go after a bitter family argument about money and inheritance." The sister Sarah had cried about losing, wondering if she'd ever see her again. "Becca," Marcus whispered, hardly believing it. "What are you doing here?" I was coming to see you," she said weakly. "And Emma, I've been trying to work up the courage for months." Marcus pushed aside his shock and focused on the immediate danger. The car could catch fire at any moment. He carefully worked his arms under Rebecca's shoulders and knees, lifting her as gently as possible. She was lighter than he expected, and he could feel her trembling. "Put your arms around my neck," he instructed. "Hold on tight. Step by careful step." Marcus carried Rebecca away from the wreckage. The rain made everything slippery, but he managed to reach the sidewalk just as the car's engine gave one final, ominous click and went silent. "We need to get you to a hospital," Marcus said, setting her down gently on his front porch. "No, please, I'm okay. Just shaken up." Rebecca touched the cut on her forehead. "It's not that bad." Marcus studied her face in the porch light. She looked like Sarah, the same green eyes, the same stubborn chin. But there was something different about her too. She was wearing expensive clothes, and her jewelry looked real. "Come inside," he said finally. "Let me clean that cut." Emma appeared in the doorway, curious about the stranger. "Dad, who is this?" Marcus looked at Rebecca, unsure how to explain. Rebecca smiled through her pain. "Hi, Emma. I'm your Aunt Rebecca. Your mom was my sister." Emma's eyes widened. "Mom had a sister. She never told me about you." That's a long story," Rebecca said softly. As Marcus cleaned Rebecca's wound and made her tea, the story gradually came out. After the family argument, Rebecca had thrown herself into her work at a tech startup. The company had grown beyond anyone's expectations, and she'd become wealthy, very wealthy. But success hadn't brought her happiness. "I kept thinking about Sarah," Rebecca explained, her hands wrapped around the warm mug. "About how stupid our fight was. About how I was missing out on knowing Emma." "Sarah missed you too," Marcus said, quietly. "She talked about you all the time, especially near the end. She wanted to reach out, but she was afraid you wouldn't want to hear from her." Rebecca's eyes filled with tears. I was such a fool. I let pride keep me away from the people who mattered most. Emma, who had been listening quietly, suddenly climbed onto Rebecca's lap. I'm glad you came to see us, she said simply. Over the next few hours, as the storm finally began to clear, the three of them talked. Rebecca learned about Marcus's struggles as a single father, about the bills and the worry and the loneliness. Marcus discovered that his wealthy sister-in-law had been carrying her own burden of regret and isolation. I want to help, Rebecca said eventually, not just with money, though I'd like to do that too. I want to be part of Emma's life, part of both your lives if you'll let me. Marcus looked at his daughter, who had fallen asleep curled up between them on the couch. Sarah, they would have wanted that, he said. She would have wanted Emma to know her aunt. Rebecca nodded, wiping away fresh tears. I can't bring her back, but maybe I can help give Emma the future Sarah dreamed of. Outside, the rain had finally stopped. For the first time in months, Marcus could see stars appearing between the clouds. The storm was over, and tomorrow would bring new possibilities, and a family that was whole again, in a way none of them had expected. Sometimes, Marcus thought, the best things in life come disguised as disasters. Sometimes you have to walk through the rain to find the rainbow waiting on the other side.